This is the Freeheel Life podcast, episode number 98. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. And welcome back. It's Monday, and we're here for another episode of the Freeheel Life podcast. And guess what? We just opened. And I thought I'd bring the whole team in today to see how it went and give you guys kind of an update of the shop opening. And I think it's supposed to snow this week, so I'm excited about that. So I'm going to hop this over. We're doing newsroom and notes. We're going to start off with Telly Tay at Telly Tay on Instagram.
What's up, people? It's Telly Tay here. Newsroom and notes. The Freeheel Life shop is open. This past Saturday was our first day of the 2021-22 season. Thank you so much to all of you guys that stopped by on Saturday. It was a good day as my first open day, live day as GM of Freeheel Life. So it's fun. A lot of stuff got done in the last month or so. Just mega prep work to get ready for all the craziness that is a winter at Freeheel Life. But thank you for swinging by Saturday. And our shop is starting to look pretty good. We're still getting some orders in, but I'm going to hand that over to Miles, our new shop manager, to let us know about any new product on the way.
Yeah, so great day on Saturday. Fun to see some new faces and some old faces. We got some gear coming in, lots of new stuff, skis, bindings, boots, stuff like that. Now's the time to kind of hop on some gear as we get it in stock. Kind of guarantee yourself a pair of boots or a pair of bindings. So, yeah, good to see stuff rolling for sure.
What about you? We got old Nate Nordell, the gold standard here, used gear specialist / retail guru associate / all sorts of other things.
Nate's the man.
Tell us about used gear.
Used gear is great. We have a consignment program as well. So if you have some used gear, please bring that down if you're listening to this podcast. If you're far away, shoot us an email, and you can mail that stuff into us, and we will sell your gear. Make both of us some money.
Get you some cash for the new setup. Should be good. It's that time of year. Yeah, temps are dropping. Days are getting shorter. And we're ready for another winter here at Freeheel Life. Should be fun.
Love it. Yeah, and I realized, Tay, we haven't even had you on to tell people about your promotion to general manager.
Thank you.
Taylor deserves it, as well as all these other boys for what they're doing. But Tay's paid his dues, so he's gonna be running the show here. And if you want to get a little more info on that, you can go over to telemarkskier.com. There's an article up about that and kind of the changes. We had Miles and his dad on last week to kind of talk about him being shop manager. And Nate is just doing all sorts of things. So I'm sure you'll come back on at some point, and we'll get more detailed about what's going on. So
yeah, well, thank you for the congratulations. It's a fun role, I think. A few new responsibilities, kind of dealing with what you've left me, Josh. I think I've got a good team that makes my job a lot easier, but we've got a lot on our plate as always. So, we're not taking our foot off the gas. I'm excited to see what me and the team can do this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys too. So with that said, what are you guys seeing this year? I mean, I know you and Miles talked about the Protector skis. Nate's been in the depths of ski manufacturing with me. That's been an exciting thing. Yeah, so along with that, like what else can people kind of look for? I mean, maybe walk people through, if they haven't been in the shop, what can they expect? I know we've obviously got gear coming in, but as we get closer to the opening day and stuff, what are some of the programs maybe people might not know about?
Well, here at Freeheel Life, we really hope to be a resource for kind of all things Telemark. the words we've kind of used in the last year or so is really, we have a Telemark shop. Now that may be a change of identity to a lot of you of we are a Telemark shop, but we want to do some other stuff. This ski manufacturing project, that's kind of one big part of that. But we got a lot of things going on at the shop that aren't just selling gear. If you're looking for gear, we'd love to be your preferred Telemark shop, as Josh likes to say. But rentals, demos, I think for people that might be interested in Telemark skiing, whether you're listening to this now or you've got friends that maybe are tele curious, in Salt Lake we can handle the demos, the rentals, kids. We've got kids season rentals. I really cracked Nate up with that one. Tele curious. There's a lot of people that tele curious, right? I'm not the only one.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just sitting over here biting my tongue not to blow up the mic with laughter.
Oh, that's all right. You can laugh at my jokes.
I think.
But we've got kids season rentals. Those are certainly available to anybody in Salt Lake City. But again, UPS exists. So if you are in a place that is hard to find kids Telemark gear, which is probably most places, give us a call, shoot us an email. We can walk you through kind of measuring your kids up as far as feet size and get them on the kids we start on 75 millimeter. The rest of our demo gear is NTN, but I think the 75 stuff works good for kids. Softer flexing boots like old T2s and G-Rexes and Teledactyls, all that good stuff. A soft flexing boot. We've got a lot of setups with the new 22 Designs Kids Vice that are going to be in the rental fleet this year. So super cool that 22 Designs did the kind of kids version of the Vice. So basically it's just a small Vice with softy springs. But again, that's, softer boot, softer binding, especially when you're little. Maybe you weigh 75 pounds and you're 8 years old. I don't know. I don't actually know how much 8-year-olds weigh. 75 pounds, maybe. That sounded good.
Nate's about the same size, I think.
No, Nate's got a little more mass.
Taylor and I were just talking about how I used to be fat, and I had to show him pictures, and it looks like
unrecognizable.
I ate me.
I can appreciate that. That's a good success story that Nate started Telemark skiing and now he's fit and shredded and svelte.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's my favorite word.
But, getting kids into tele, that's, really fun for me for a variety of reasons. I mean, one, just because I was fortunate enough to be a young Telemark skier, and I know how much fun that has brought to my life. And when you're young, you kind of miss the learning curve. But in summer mode, right, I'm a golf instructor and kind of get to do the same thing of, sharing something that kids can do for hopefully life. And, tele is certainly that thing. At least maybe I might be biased, but, Grandpa turned 89 about a week and a half ago, and
happy birthday, Lloyd.
He's getting ready to drop some knees just like the rest of us. So hopefully we're all dropping knees late into the 80s. He's certainly maybe an outlier a bit, but there's hope.
I can't believe he's 89. That's wild.
I mean, for me personally, I never got on the skis till more recently, so it's super cool to help all the little kids and see them come in interested to want to do it. And where I wasn't able to do that, it's definitely fun to get the kids in some small boots and see the photos that people take of them when they are on the mountain, and how quick they pick it up is definitely pretty cool. So.
Yeah, it's really been cool the last couple of years to have a couple kids that have rented from us multiple seasons now. Because, we do see photos from their parents and videos and stuff. And, I mean, they pick it up. If you think kids can't telemark, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think it's always been that way. It's funny. talking about it now because that's always been the misconception is like kids can't telemark, and I think it's literally just the gear issue. Like once they have the gear, they're fine, you know, and they can do that stuff.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I knew I was on telegear. I asked my dad, like, well, I want to try that. You know, you make it look cool, but I don't know. I don't really remember making that many tele turns when I was a young kid. I've seen video evidence like filmed on, a early 2000s digital camera that filmed 4 pixels wide, but there is video evidence of me dropping knees as a young kid. But, I don't really remember that. It was those were just kind of my skis, and that's what I got used to being on. And I think, whether the love or the passion for the turn, man, like if that doesn't hit you at like 8 years old, that's okay. Like if you just stay on the gear, you're gonna figure it out. And we've talked about this before. I think just tele can be so versatile of like, it's just, you can ski, you can do whatever turn you want. If you want to call it free heel skiing, it's like free is the first word, right? You can do whatever turn you want. You want to do a low smoker, like need a top sheet turn, you can. If you want to stand tall or make a P turn, like you can. But I think goals as far as wrapping up that point of yes, a retail store. I think it's important for us to make sure you guys have access to gear, because unfortunately I think a lot of local shops, maybe if they haven't already, they're starting to trim their tele category out of the corner of their shop. So it can be difficult to find gear. So we're here. Again, some things are easier purchased in shop in real life versus on the internet. But, give us a call, and Miles or Nate or any of our other team members can, walk you through how we can kind of size you up the way we would do in the shop for a boot purchase, or walk you through a couple questions as far as what types of boots you've worn in the past. We know what might work for you if you've skied a certain boot for forever. We want to be there for retail stuff, obviously, but rentals, I think it's important to try it. I want to be able to grow the community in the sense of getting new people into it, whether those are kids or older people alike. It's never too late to start. If tele is something that you're interested in or know someone that's interested in, like there is a way to get people into that and share that. We want to make sure that everybody knows you tele when you're not on the mountain. It's very important. So, we've got some lifestyle gear to rock the Unity tracks or Telemark skier logos and stuff like that. I think now having Miles in the shop manager position, that means he gets some purchasing power. So you might see a few new bits of merchandise, maybe a little bit different style.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, well, as doing a lot of the buying the last couple of years, it's like a lot of the stuff was sort of my style. So I'm excited for some fresh looks at that stuff too.
I'm obviously limiting you guys to only black t-shirts and skulls. That's all you're allowed to use.
We can't lose our roots, but we might.
We'll keep one or two.
One or two. Well, that got me thinking too, Miles, is like you do the last couple of months you've been dealing with a lot of the customer service emails and stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought this could be a good opportunity to there's a lot of the same questions that people ask. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe this would be a good chance, and then I wanted to ask Nate too on this too, but like what are some of the common questions, like as we're heading into the season? What are the top 1 or 2 questions that you see people asking? And then maybe just like Tay was saying, like if you live here, it's great. You can come in. Obviously we got the YouTube channel. Yeah. We've got the customer service channel. People can, email in and get questions or call in on the phone and make an appointment. But what do you think the top 2 questions that either existing or new telemark skiers, like what are you constantly seeing that people are asking about?
I think probably the biggest one, it kind of leads into the second one, is, boot sizing is probably the most common. Really figuring out what Mondo size you wear or what boot size you need is really important, because alpine boots and hiking boots and ski boots, they all kind of use different sizing as far as if you wear a 9.5 shoe, you might be a different size than a telly boot. And I mean, me personally, I started in a boot that was 2 sizes too big because the number on it matched my shoe size, and that was obviously too big. So I think getting in a boot that fits is really important. And then I think just kind of getting in, I mean, leads to the second question of a lot of people looking for a new package, or ski boot binding is probably right there at number 2. And I think that's where we can kind of help you figure out what ski works best for you, what boot works best for you, what binding we're seeing a lot of, or evolution of binding where we're seeing stuff go, kind of stuff like that. So, and then, yeah, I mean, use gear questions all the time, you know, binding parts and broken cables, all that stuff. And that's, I mean, we're the specialists, so we're here to help you guys. And if you need a part or need a new boot, or you need help getting sized up for a boot. So
yeah, and I think that's good. I thought was going to be your answer, because that seems to be the persisting problem over the years, is like what size telly boot. And you brought up a good point. I mean, you just like took your shoe size, converted it, and ended up in 2 sizes too big. Unbeknownst to me, telly tay, I think you were 2 sizes, or even
I think it was 2. I think the hand-me-down pair of T-Races from my dad, he probably was even missized as well, because he saw an eBay listing back in the day that was listed for a T-Race size 10, which is he wears a size 10 shoe. Little did he know at the time, now we know the 10 that is stamped on the bottom of a T1 or a T-Race is a UK sizing. Don't ask me why an Italian company uses UK sizing, but he just bought a 10. He just skied it. It was only 1 size big for him of what he's skiing in now, but I just, was a 14-year-old kid, and Dad said, here's some boots, and I tried them on, and they fit. Oh, okay. And yeah, I think that was the first. I was still skiing those when I started working and volunteering.
Yeah, I remember that.
The old 3-buckle T-Races in a size 29 Mondo, and we're in the 27 shell size now. So,
yeah, like even I sized down last year from the 26.5 to the 26 shell, which then required binding swaps across the large quiver. But it's definitely something that people struggle with. Like you got to find that right fit, and it definitely helps to come in and talk. But if you are far away and you can't get to us here in the shop, we can do a pretty good job talking you through the same process at home.
Yeah, and I think we've got some YouTube videos. There's probably some updates that can get done there. But yeah, calling in, that's a good way to size boots up online before you get them. Because I think the most common thing, you guys probably agree with this in the front of the shop, is like people come in and try on a boot. If it's a new boot, like literally if you size someone in the proper boot, like you measure their foot out, put them in a boot. I mean, you probably know this, Miles. Like how many times do you put someone in a new boot, and then they look at you and they tell you that it's the wrong size?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, when I got my new TX comps last year, we sized it up. I was like, okay, 26.5, 27, these are the ones. I remember I got them out of the box when they got here, and I put my boot on. I was like, Tay, these are not the right size. These are way too tight.
Classic.
Way too small.
Classic.
My toes are getting squished, and he's like, no, just trust me. Try it on, heat mold it, skied a couple of days, and I mean, that's really, yeah, like he's nailed it on the head, is if we fit you for that right boot, it's going to feel tight at first, but if you're in a boot that's comfortable when you try it on, after 10, 15 days, you most likely will be swimming in it. So
yeah, there's a lot of things that change when you mold the boot, mold it to your foot, go ski it, break it in a little bit. But I think getting the length right is really the big thing, and making sure that you get the right boot there. So that kind of got me thinking, like, Nate, you haven't done a bunch of used gear. You truly have become the guru. Maybe remind people, just to give some expertise, how many skis do you have in your quiver currently?
In my skiable quiver right now, I have 8 skis, and then I have 9 pairs of boots.
Whoa.
How many non-skiable kits do you have?
I I'm approaching 90.
90 skis?
90 skis.
Wow. Okay. I think that grew even since we maybe did our podcast.
No,
did.
since the last podcast, it's up quite a few.
Wow. All right. So as people are getting into used gear, because you obviously are in the front of the shop with Miles a bunch, you're buying a lot of the used gear, you're taking the consignment in, you're processing a lot of it. Like what are some tips you can give? Because not everybody's buying new equipment. It's expensive. So people are looking for deals. They're looking for boots, boot upgrades, ski upgrades, binding upgrades. What do you think, if you had to give the people out there, the listeners, some hot tips as they're heading into the season, they want to upgrade their gear, they're not going to buy new gear. What do you think, what are a couple hot tips you can share with them?
If you haven't hopped on the NTN train, you definitely should. And Miles is glaring at me out of the side of his eye like, oh, you did not say that. No, if you haven't tried NTN, come in for a demo and try NTN. And if you love it, we have a lot of used gear, as well as we still have a few demo pieces, as well as we do have quite a few demo boots from last year. And so NTN is really where it's at. For me, that is what made Telemark click. I dabbled for a few years, bouncing between Alpine and Telemark a few days. And if you really want the backstory, check the podcast from last time, and that gives you a great story of how I really dove into it. But
He's skinning up with an extra setup on his back.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Nate's obviously your backcountry expert.
oh yeah,
He'll get you the right backpack to hike your skis up to the top of the hill. Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing, and I think, I mean that. Oh, this is going to be, I don't know how long this debate with the whole NTN thing is going to go on. We talked about it, Miles and Justin, your dad. We talked about the 75 millimeter thing, and he had some good insight on it. I think your dad, if you didn't listen to the podcast last week, go back and listen. But Miles' dad was talking about this in terms of just like the feel. He just likes 75 millimeters. So a lot, obviously, I think that's a good hot tip from Nate in terms of if you can try NTN out and you're willing to make the boot switch, go for it. If you're someone that is on a cable binding, and you know this because you started on Targas. That's how you ended up at the shop the first time.
Broke my Targa cables.
No, we don't have Target cables, just FYI. So they don't exist. So, I mean, you can always try, but like let's say someone's on a Targa or on an old Riva or on an old cable binding, which is crazy because most of these bindings are literally like 20 or 30 years old. They're looking for a binding upgrade, but they don't want to change the boot. So what do you tell those people?
Looking for a binding upgrade but not a boot, you can look in, you have a bunch of options. My personal preference would be one of the 22 design bindings, whether it is the axle or the vise. If you want to go touring, get the axle. If you are just skiing inbounds, go with the vise. It's simpler, it's cheaper, and it's going to get you down the mountain, and it's a great product.
Yeah, I think there's some good transition pieces like that. Like, and I think that's something we've always, I'd like to think we've done pretty well at the shop is like, if you're going to come in here, it's not like we're just going to sell you like the newest, greatest thing just because, like you said, like some people they're coming from older gear. They need to upgrade. And a lot of it, honestly, with the bindings is like, you can't get parts. I mean, we sell a lot of used parts, but cables are one of those things that's super hard to come by. It's sort of a rare and precious metal that you need to dig out of the ground somewhere, do a archaeology dig to go find G3 cables. So, no, I think that's a good thing. So, okay, cool. I think that kind of goes over some of the stuff. I think that's helpful as people are leading into the season, kind of stuff that they're looking at and maybe thinking about and how we can help them out. I wanted to get your guys' take. We're going to kind of hop around a little bit today, but I wanted to get your guys' take. You guys are young. You're taking the shop forward. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. I've talked a little bit about Telemark trends, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on this. Like, where's Telemark going this year? Like, what do you think people are looking to do? What do you think's interesting? I've started seeing some, there's some movie trailers popping up. There's stuff like that. I don't know. What do you guys think some of the trends are that you guys are going to see? I mean, this is broad too, because I get it. There's a vast array of age groups and ability levels, but what do you think? What are you guys seeing in terms of people? I don't know, Tay maybe, or Nate. Oh, Nate's got one.
I think Ty Dayberry, with his new movie coming out, is really going to show us what the capabilities of a great telemark skier can do. Like, he makes telemark skiing and getting aerial and doing flips and tricks look easy.
You think that's what do you guys think? And I didn't get to watch it yet, but there was that Sago trailer that came out too. Did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
You did? Mm-hmm. What fill me in, because I haven't seen it yet. Sago Skis had a little trailer come out with a couple telly guys. What's going on in that? Fill me in, because I need to still watch it.
Pretty simple edit where it's just good skiing, where it was fun to watch. And
was it mostly backcountry stuff?
Yeah, backcountry, just
a little bit of urban.
Yeah,
even.
little.
Really? Yeah. No, it was cool that those guys weren't really on my radar, but shout out to social media for letting me see some other people pushing it in the telly world. So that's cool. I think, Dayberry really does push it, as far as, he pushes himself personally, but he's at the top of the game. And I think, maybe we might not see the effects for stuff that he's doing now for a couple of years, but I think he really is putting out some inspiring stuff. I mean, that may sound a bit cheesy, but I think that is the reality. I mean, he's really pushing that as far as, skiing bigger lines in the backcountry, doing bigger tricks. Like, you really can pretty much do anything on telly skis, and that's cool to see, from him and from, some other younger people. Like, I was going to kind of say my thought of a trend was, I'm really feeling the energy of new people and younger people getting into telly, which is, super cool. A lot of us around the shop, are 20 something. I think that crew is, at least locally, it seemed like we had a lot of friends that were alpine skiers that were, either owned in telly setup and they put a few more days on it, the end of last year, or new people that were looking to get into it. But I think we're on an upward trend of telly's cool. I don't want to say cool again, because it never was not cool, but I think the outside perception is maybe cool again.
No, I think that is a good point. Is like, I mean, it goes in cycles, and I think a lot of it just is whether people have equipment or not. Like if they're, I think there's always been this argument, like, people watch stuff like Dayberry, and I'm talking from the prehistoric times of telly movies, but it's I also think it's important that those things come out, because even if you're getting older, whatever that is, I mean, I'm in my 40s, and I still think it's cool to see what is possible. And I think sometimes people like watch those edits or movies, and I don't think it's cheesy at all. I think people do need to be inspired. I mean, seeing the possibilities of stuff doesn't mean that you have to do that thing, but I think it does illustrate the fact that there's no limitations to it. Like, you can do whatever version of it you want to do. It's just, but I totally agree. I think it's important, and I think it's cool that there's other young people putting out edits. I don't know if people would be inspired by old people telemark skiing per se. Maybe that's my future, dude. I'm gonna just start making like geriatric telly movies. I mean, I did shred with a walker last year, so I guess that was
true.
That was borderline, but I don't.
You still ski like a young man.
Well, I gotta keep up with you guys. That's the thing. So, no, I think that's good. And how do you guys perceive how do you guys perceive ski movies in general? I mean, do people really watch movies, like, or is it like, how? Maybe a better question is, and I saw Nate pull the mic over, so you get to answer this one. How long is your attention span?
For somebody that grew up heavily medicated for ADHD, for a ski movie, I'll sit through a 2-hour movie.
You can handle a 2-hour movie?
Ski movie? give me more. There's not enough of them.
Yeah, I don't think there are a lot anymore, are there?
No, there really aren't. And like even the Warren Miller films, like it's hard to go to a premiere because they're not everywhere anymore. I think the only place this year that I could find a ticket was Ogden.
Really? They're not even playing Salt Lake?
I couldn't find any in Salt Lake.
So you can handle like a Warren Miller movie with an intermission?
Oh, absolutely. I'm stoked to go to a Warren Miller film.
That's okay. That's cool. That's actually good to know, because I would think that people wouldn't want that, like it's too long, or it's not, I don't know, like kind of this idea that you're just over it. There's too much. I don't know. Like people used to get hyped up, go to the ski, like you said, they'd find the ticket, go to the ski movie, hang out with their buddies.
Hopefully win some gear in the raffle, and it just gets you stoked up for the season. Like I remember doing that every year, and now it's just gotten harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, Nate kind of brings up an interesting point about ski movies, because I actually, this past week, I went to a ski movie premiere. It was for the Faction Skis. They did a team movie, but it's kind of just last minute. We decided to go down and check out the movie, and it was really fun to kind of just observe, because I hadn't been to a ski movie premiere in a while, because like I sort of pay attention to the Alpine world, but I exist in Telemark world, so that's not a super common thing for me to go to a movie premiere. But it was cool to see the energy of just people stoked about winter, and there's definitely a bunch of young kids. Like, felt like I was surrounded by high school boys, which was fine, right? You want young people stoked, but I think it's cool that Dayberry has that motivation to put out the content he does. I think we need more of that in our world. That's certainly easier said than done, but the reality is, like, we have access to so many good cheap cameras. I mean, some of the cameras on the phones these days are nuts. Like, you really don't even need that much video production equipment to put something out cool. And, maybe you don't make a movie, but, even just little YouTube videos and stuff, like, people do watch that stuff. And I think that stuff's cool to see, Telly is a, has room for personal expression. So if, speaking for myself in a third person, or speaking for anybody else out there, like, if you're inspired by someone doing something, don't be afraid to share what you're doing, because it's probably cool. So I think, I'd encourage you to, just throw a little clip up on Instagram, or throw a edit together on YouTube. And if you've never done videos or video editing before, like, you're going to get better at it the more you do it. The first little Instagram edit you make is probably not going to be a Warren Miller style movie, but just doing something is cool. I mean, you just get better at that, as far as presenting what you're doing on skis, not only getting better at what you're actually doing on skis.
Yeah, I mean, that is the difference from my era to your guys' era. Is like, you used to have to be in a movie in order for people to see what you're doing, and now everybody's got Instagram, TikTok, maybe Facebook, obviously YouTube. It was like when I talked to Mario on the podcast a few weeks ago up in Big Sky. I mean, like, yeah, that's what was cool to me, is he kind of reminds me of Miles and Nate. Like, I mean, he's only been telemarketing 4 years, and he's doing these crazy carves, and if you haven't listened to that podcast, it's really interesting. It was one of the trends I was talking about. Is it's interesting to me to start seeing like a new generation pick up on some, I don't even know, ideas. Honestly, talking to him, what was most interesting about that is he started telemarketing 4 years ago, and then he's coming up with, like Tay's talking about, like this personal expression where he's putting disc golf discs duct taped to his hands and literally like laying carves out. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of like when you start thinking there's nowhere to change what is getting done on telemark skis, and then I see that and I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. Like, somebody totally came up with something that I wouldn't have thought they would do. So Yeah, so I agree. I think there's a way to it's like mini movies every day. That's why I was asking about attention span, because I don't know. Maybe that's just the old guy in me, and you just assume that like kids can only look at something for 30 seconds, and I don't know if that's true. Apparently not. Nate, you also have 90 pairs of skis, so you might be unique in the situation.
Nate is unique, but you know,
you also wear a gold suit, so.
Yeah, I am my own man, but
this is true. The gold standard himself. Well, yeah. So things. It's gonna be. It's supposed to snow the next couple days. I'm curious. Big winter predictions. Do we think any thoughts on this? I'm not much of a weather guy.
I'm a chronic optimist and not a meteorologist, but. But
totally unrelated.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about the winter. I mean, you know, it's Utah. Like, it'd be, you know, super fun to go travel and chase some snow around if we get the opportunity this year. But even if it's bad here, it's still good. Like, it just is. And I feel like we're due for a big one. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we're definitely spoiled with the snow we get here, but hoping for a good one. I got a good feeling. Hoodies have been on a little earlier this year, so
yeah, that's true.
Looking good.
Yeah. What do you think, Nate? Prediction snow? Can you give me like a inches fallen prediction?
we're gonna break 600 this year.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really? Why do you think
we're not
that?
going to hit 7, but we're going to hit 6.
Why do you think that?
You usually get 2 off years, and then you get a good hit, and we've had 2 off years, and it's time for a good one.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, how much was last year? Did we break 500 last year?
Yeah, barely.
Barely. I don't even keep track of that stuff.
500 inches. So sad. I don't know. Maybe I think it was a hot, dry summer. So maybe the natural cycles will be a hot, dry summer and a cold, wet winter.
we should have pulled out the Farmer's Almanac, and maybe that's what we need. We need like a
Sandre's Almanac. Should we write one up? Just put that into existence.
That's interesting. No, I agree. I mean, we live in a place where it's like 400, 500 inches is like not good, which is kind of bizarre to me. But yeah, like I always say, like if people that telly, the shop's always busy. If it's a great winter, the shop's busy with people that are telemarking already. And if it's a bad winter, everyone starts telemarking because they're bored and the snow, quote unquote, sucks. So I think there's a good chance that either way you're going to see a lot of people. So, well, that's good. All right. So we've covered, what else is going on? What are you guys thinking about? Anything going into the season? Everyone's just looking at me like, what do you want to talk about? Dun, dun, dun.
Building skis with you, Josh, has been really fun all summer.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that was fun. Nate's done a good job of actually hopping in and building skis. And, I think that's been a pretty eye-opening experience for all of us.
To say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that ski building project has probably been, if not number one, it's number 1A as far as what our attention has been on the last, couple months with Freeheel Life stuff. And it's been really, interesting. I think one, to just see all the processes. It's been interesting for me I've tried to at least go through the processes, watch the processes, understand the processes. I haven't spent as much time hands-on with the ski building stuff as everybody else, but just to see that stuff, it's like we're getting a grasp on things. We're starting to do things a little better than we did, even just a couple months ago. So it keeps me hopeful about how many pairs of protectors we can get out to people. We did do limited run this year, and it's going to be probably small batch for a little while, but I think that's where we wanted to start with. Like ski building is a huge project, and we wanted to deal with like a manageable bite to eat. It's like that, you guys, there's people out there that you guys are still asking us about these skis because, whether you just think you believe us in everything we say of how awesome these skis are, or you trust us and want to support the project. Either way, we don't have enough skis for everybody that is interested, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I think that was the fun part about when Nate first came in, and there was kind of a funny point where I was like, you know, you were like hitting me up like, hey, I want to make skis. And then you get in here and I'm like, I don't know if he's going to want to make skis because it's so detailed, right? Like I think all of us, so the 4 of us in here, that these first 2 batches that we put together literally have, one of us 4 has touched every single process in the skis, whether it's bending the edge, putting the edge on the base, putting the sidewall on, making the cores from scratch. I mean, I think that's the coolest part for me is like people are actually going to be able to ski on something that we made and actually intricately understand from the very beginning. So, I don't know. Was it surprising to you guys? Like it was surprising to me how many details were involved, even kind of having I mean, we've done a few in the past, but this was like, I mean, we literally built a ski factory in the shop, and then to go through the process of it, like it was pretty surprising to me.
Mind-boggling. And I have so much appreciation for what goes into skis after building skis, because you think, oh, there's carbon fiber, there's some wood, metal edges, and some base and a top sheet. And yeah, when you break it down, yes, it's that, but there's so much work and there's so much fine-tuning and just little processes to get all of those things so that when you take all the materials and you put them in the press, you come out with a good ski.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because I think we've gotten to a point, like you said, like we just talk about skis like they're this thing that just exists. You know, you're like looking at a ski review and you're like, oh yeah, I totally get it. This ski's got this, that, and the other, and this side cut and whatever. But you know, the funny part about it is even though we're a small production company at this point, it's like as far as I can tell, like all the processes are the same. So like literally every ski maker out there is using the same processes. And I think that's what's even, you know, I mean, there's obviously some things that are, you know, larger scale and stuff like that, but the nuts and bolts of putting the ski together are the same, which is crazy because it really does give you this appreciation for how, you know, in particular, how we chose the materials when we were testing the skis and solving some problems with adding materials or taking stuff away, and just to get like this crafted piece of material to put on your feet. So for me, that's the coolest thing. And like, you know, when people try them out, and I know we have some demos in the batch that's coming up. So like for those of you that are interested and live in Salt Lake or coming through town, for sure you're going to be able to try these skis. I think that's what I'm most excited about, is to see this first batch of people like get feedback, whether someone's just trying to on a demo, or, you know, some of these first amazing people that actually supported the project not having skied on them. And I think that's pretty cool. So
yeah, I think we're stoked to be able to get you guys on them. If you go for a demo day and it's great and I don't have a pair of skis right that moment to sell you, we'll figure it out. We'll get you a pair. But yeah, that, like Josh said, and we touched in a podcast previously, of just, again, thank you for all those that were willing to trust us with the pre-order, because you didn't get to demo them. And with all the testing and stuff we did, you know, end of last season, like, I mean, I really feel good about what we're putting out. I think it does what we were looking to do as far as a versatile all mountain ski that can, you know, handle the speed if you want to, you know, push the gas pedal a little bit, but it doesn't require you to be in, you know, third gear before you can actually turn the ski. So that's what, you know, again, like, thank you for pre-ordering, but also, like, yeah, we're going to try and, you know, we want to get feedback from people as far as when the demos, you take a demo or you got a pair. We want to get feedback because we're only going to get better at that process of building these. You know, I think, you know, maybe the plan right now is to stick to that protector shape for a little while, because I think what it does is really good. But, if we have to make minor tweaks here and there, we're not opposed to that. We're not, we didn't stick our feet in the ground that deep to not change anything if it warrants, being better in the future. But going through all those little details in the process of like, where we line up the core so that the sidewall and the wood overlap over the tracks of the edges, like just for that little bit of extra strength if you do ding a rock or something. I think these are really, really durable, and all of the Freeheel Life skis that I've been skiing on the last 4 or 5 years, they have held up. Like, we were mounting another whole room in the shop with old museum skis. If you've been in the Freeheel Life shop before, there's historical items attached to the ceiling. I was debating, I would like to put a pair of my own skis up on the museum wall at some point, but I was not ready to do that yesterday, just because even some of these Freeheel Life skis that I have hundreds of days on, they're still doing what I want. So just because, those were made down the street versus the next pair is made, in the back of the building, like, I still feel very confident in what we're making is good. And, we're hesitant to stick the Freeheel Life name on just anything, especially when it came to the ski project. Like, we weren't going to stick the Freeheel Life name on something that we didn't believe in.
Yeah, no. And I think that's a testament to like how much time and effort we're putting into it, and attention to detail. And, it's a craft item. I mean, literally, like, blood, sweat, and tears going into this thing. And maybe not blood, but
I bled.
You bled?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so there's blood.
We've all had a nick or a scrape here or there.
There's blood inside of the skis or something.
I don't know if it's tears. I know there's sweat and blood.
Yeah.
Anybody cry?
Tears. I don't. Maybe Nate.
I've been close with a couple of hand cramps, clamping edges to skis. But
I think that's a funny, the physical effort actually was a funny part of learning how to make skis, because hand cramps are like a real thing.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. There's some weird muscles that you use to make skis that I was not aware of. Well, cool, you guys. Good catch up. Great job on opening the shop for the 2021-22 season. And I guess real quick before I do head us out of this thing is, I know you guys probably want to stay in touch with people. So where do they find you, Tay?
At TellyTay on Instagram. That's a great way to follow me personally. But please follow our channels, Freeheel Life on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever your preferred method is. The Freeheel Life YouTube page is getting rolling with content. The Lowdown with Miles Shaffer, I've handed that over to the new shop manager, as that was really supposed to be the shop manager's show, talking about shop stuff. I've still yet to come up with a name for my YouTube show, but TellyTay content is not going away. It's just going to come in a different form. So make sure to check us out on the social medias and the YouTube stuff.
Perfect. Miles, where do people find you?
Miles Shaffer on Instagram. That's kind of personal stuff. If you ever want to follow me there, I will be posting more ski content this year. Try to follow in the footsteps of TellyTay on the Lowdown. Big shoes to fill, and
you got it.
I've seen multiple comments that people want that TellyTay YouTube show sooner than later.
I know you're gonna have to like fight your way to the top with the Lowdown. They're gonna be like, "Where's TellyTay?"
It'll good. Competition breeds better products. So between you, me, and Dosty, who's getting the most view counts in a month will be a competition.
It's fun. I'm excited for it, and definitely some new stuff. But it's been fun to kind of learn the process of YouTube and production and stuff. So, but yeah, other than that, I think and Telly Skier, some good articles and stuff on there too. So. But yeah,
perfect. Nate's still running the videos on Use Telemark Gear on Instagram at Use Telemark Gear, and all the videos. We've kind of been putting them on the main channel over the summer. Are we switching over? Probably by the time we're hearing this, it's switching.
I don't know, General Manager. What are we doing?
You got your own page. You got Use Telemark Gear and Use Telemark YouTube page. So if you guys are, either looking for that stuff or just want to hear Nate's detailed breakdown of the most awesome colorway from 2009 or whatever.
If you want to see the best cross section of fashion and gear expertise, check out Nate on Instagram at
24 Karat Tally.
That's what I'm talking about. Gold standard. All right, boys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. And awesome conversation today to kind of get us going and get us into the season. And as always, you can check out what we're up to by signing up for the mailing list. It's in the show notes. If you're not part of it, that's a good way to stay in touch with everything that we're doing. You can follow the guys via their personal Instagram pages. Of course, you can follow Freeheel Life at Freeheel Life across the board. And as Miles said, you can always check out telemarksgear.com for articles, gear reviews, and more. And for premium subscribers, you've got access to a lot of the premium content in terms of gear reviews, our sips and tips that we're doing, and much, much more. So check that out. You can always hit me up directly at podcast@freeheellife.com. And until next week, my friends, spread Telemark always.